निताय गौर हरि बोल, निताय गौर प्रेमानंद हरि बोल। जय श्री श्री राधा नीला माधव की जय, जय श्री श्री राधा गिरिधारी की जय, जय श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय, जय श्री श्री गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। नमो विष्णुपाद परमहंस अशोकदास श्रीमद अभय चरणविंदा भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस अशोकदास श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णविंद की जय। नामाचार्य शिला हरदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तविंद की जय। जय श्री श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। श्री यमुना माई की जय। गंगा माई की जय। भक्ति विघ्न विनाशकारी भगवान श्री नरसिंह देव की जय। भक्त राशि प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। शत गोस्वामी वर की जय। इस्कॉन ऑफ ह्यूस्टन की जय। शिला प्रभुपाद बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय। इस्कॉन प्रसादम डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय। जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्री श्री गुरु एंड गौरांग। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्री श्री गुरु एंड गौरांग।
Headache?
No, he had it.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana व्रजजनरञ्जन यमुनातीरवनचारी यमुनातीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रजजनरञ्जन यशोदनंदन व्रजजनरञ्जन यमुनातीरवनचारी यमुनातीरवनचारी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada. Gaura Premanandi Jaya Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivacharya Astottara Shishimat His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hare Hare. All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastabhutale Srimati Tama Krishna Goswanti Namre. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastabhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namre. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prachane Visheshanyadi Vasyata Desatare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayer Nascha Prashu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistikir. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, The Creative Impetus, Chapter 14, The Material World as the Great Forest of Enjoyment. Sadhu Sangha Prabhu was supposed to give, but he got burned by the material forest. Got burned by the sun, which is part of the material world. So I just got news this morning, or rather an hour ago or somewhat. Go gave a class. So what is this material world as the great forest of enjoyment? Srila Prabhupada mentions how we are doing verse 17, right? 5:14, is it 17? 17. Oh, 27, not 17. I only saw the 7, I guess. Okay, yeah, so but I'll give you just a summary. So Prabhupada mentions that how there are people who go to the forest to collect valuables. You can get rare flowers, right? They make a profit. Some jewelry, and then or maybe they go looking for what is that? This for cooking. They use that. They use the pigs to look for it. It's a kind of mushroom. There's a name for it, though. Yes, thank you. Truffles. So truffles are very expensive. They are like diamonds, in the culinary world. So they go picking there. But then when you're in this forest, there's so many other living entities also. There could be dacoits. So his point is people go through so much endeavor just to get some small things for enjoyment. Something they want. They think, oh, I make so much money, I'll endeavor. Sometimes there are rare orchids in the sides of cliffs of mountains. So people give their life just to pick the flower. As they pick and they think, I've got it, but then they slip and fall. That's the end of that adventure. So Prabhupada's point is, this material world is like that, he gives that understanding for us to... and the whole idea behind it is the living entity wants to actually have a good time, enjoy life. Everybody wants to enjoy. Why? Because that's the nature of the living entity. He's always looking for Anandamaya Pyasat. He's looking for happiness, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that he doesn't know where to look for. By nature, he is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So therefore, the Supreme Lord is Purusha, he's enjoying. So the living entity has this nature, Purusha Bhava, and therefore we take different roles. We take birth as man and woman wanting to enjoy this material world. In the onset of the creation, when we say, or when we manifested, when the Lord manifested us, because we are independent, we have the right to decide also. And all of us, the great adventurers, all of us decided to come to this material world. And so Narottam Das Thakur says, Krishna Bahirmukha Hana Bhoga Vanchakare. That he turns his face away from Krishna. Bahirmukha, turns away. I'm not interested. Krishna is saying, stay with me. We will have so nice time. No, I'm not interested. Like a child, when the parents say, come, let's go home. No, I want to stay here. I want to stay here at the park. I want to stay at this shopping center. Right? So Devi knows very much about that. No, I'm not going. You don't understand what I need. So the living entity is like that. Bahirmukha, I don't want to see. And that starts the entire material creation. That desire to turn away from Krishna. And so the Lord, out of His infinite compassion, it's not just compassion, He is infinitely compassionate. He manifests this material energy, and then the sole purpose is to teach us that we cannot be happy otherwise, without the Supreme Lord's association. And so therefore we come here, and He gives us so many facilities. So many facilities. They say, right, somebody makes a mistake, give them a piece of rope so that they can hang themselves. The Lord is like that. He gives us all the facilities so that we can hang ourselves or suffer and then realize, why am I suffering? It is not possible for the living entity to get out of this material. Sometimes Brahmandi Brahmati Kona Bhagyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasadi Bhakti Paya Lata Beach is fortunate Bhagyavan, that he gets to get some Vaishnava association. Otherwise, Purusha Prakritisto hi bhungte prakriti jan guna karanam guna sangasya sarasadyoni janvasu. So therefore, if not, he is forced to take birth here and there. Upper planetary system, go to hell. People sometimes curse each other. So they do go to hell and suffer. And then after suffering, they get a chance to take birth based on their sinful activities, and then they go through so much difficulties. And without the compassion of the Vaishnavas, we are all students of becoming good Vaishnavas. So what is our compassion? How do we extend this compassion to others who are trying to enjoy this great forest? The senses that if we don't control them, then they pull us one way, pull us another way, like puppets in a string. When Prabhupada said, make me dance, make me dance, make me dance, he was telling Krishna, I'll be your puppet. But all of us, we are puppets of the material energy. And so we are forced to dance according to the three modes of material energy. Mode of passion, mode of ignorance, mode of goodness. They are all binding. None are freeing. Each binds us in a different way. Mode of ignorance in lethargy, in ignorance, in madness, in intoxication. Mode of passion in wanting to enjoy. Oh, how much can I enjoy? Let me count the ways. And so it binds us into wanting to enjoy this material nature. The more we try to enjoy, the more karma, bandhana, it binds us. And then mode of goodness, oh, I'm so good. I'm following all the rules and regulations. I am so good. I'm the best. Look at all these people. Fools, fools, fools. Look, there's another fool. Yeah. And I'm so good. So it binds us thinking that we are better than others. And therefore we never strive to become a better person. Strive to get out of these three modes of material nature. Nishtraya guna bhava Arjuna, get above this. So we don't do that. So in the same way, we then try to extend our family. And then we say, oh, I'm going to get married, I'll have children of this and that. And actually, this particular chapter, it explains how they are all like animals, like jackals. It's kind of heavy when you look at it. Hey, jackals? My wife is a jackal. Foxes? My children are like foxes. Why? Because the whole idea is that the description is about people who are not following anything. They're not controlling their senses or anything. So everyone is looking up to someone. If I can exploit this person, I will exploit. So the man, he'll exploit the woman, and the woman in turn will exploit the man. So they're like ferocious animal, eating away each other. It's like a snake. There's this symbol snake which is trying to swallow its own tail. So that is material life. We are chasing after that which we cannot really get, yeah. And then Prabhupada also highlights how there are envious living entities. You have, what is that? Adi Devika, Adi Atmika, Adi Bhautika. So insects, mosquitoes, they will bother us. You never bothered the mosquito. Why should it bother you? But they will create disturbances. You have no choice. Sometimes, I remember when I was in college, you have to walk at least a mile to go to the shopping center to buy something. So we will walk, but we will have to walk through the houses, some of the houses. So you have to walk by. And then in some places they have dogs, they got Great Danes, they have, German Shepherds and Doberman. And as you walk, some of these animals, they wait until you come near. Then suddenly they bark at you. Whoa, 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 whoa. And you get a heart attack. And some are even worse. They'll jump across over their fences and you are stuck, and there's no one around. The owner is not, it's in the morning, you're just a college student trying to get something to buy. And sometimes it's so scary you don't even want to go shopping, It's because this world is fearful. Everywhere you turn is some kind of fearfulness. I remember when I was a little boy, I went to shop, and then when I was going to the shop, one big boy came and then stopped me. He was a bully. I was thinking that was it, I'm going to get beaten up. But suddenly some man came and caught the other guy and he bullied the other guy. So it's like, one animal is a food for another animal. Jiva jivasya. So this is the material world. And it was astonishing. As I recollect all this thing, I'm thinking this is not a pleasant place to live. But still, we are thinking somehow I can get some nectar, amrita. But what kind of amrita is this? It's not the real amrita. This amrita here that we taste has a beginning and an end. That's it. And therefore, it's full of distress. And the more the living entity tries to find different ways to enjoy, the more he gets entangled in karma bandhana. And then he thinks, oh, I will do this, I will do that. And he's forced to act impiously. No choice. Because he doesn't know what is right and what is wrong. So he's thinking, I have to do this for my family, I have to do it for myself. And so ultimately he becomes an impious person. And he's been witnessed by the sun, the moon, the planetary system, the super soul. Everyone is witnessing him. You cannot hide. People think, oh, I can do in the secret darkness of the night and I'll get away. But actually, everyone is looking at you. The demigods, everyone is watching you. So nobody is safe. You've always been witnessed. So sometimes when he's caught doing bad things, then he will renounce. Yes, from today I'll give up such lifestyle, but it only lasts for a few days or a few months. Because that's the nature of living in this material world. We think, oh, now I'm okay, I'm feeling good. And then the senses will say, let's do it. Let's do it. One more time. One for the road. And so he ventures, and then again he gets caught. And so sad. Before even he becomes renounced and attains perfection, he is bewildered. This is the nature of this material world. Without a Vaishnava guiding anyone, you are guaranteed of being bewildered. Guarantee, 100%. You cannot think that it doesn't happen. So then he meets so many different people, to ask for guidance. They are all but envious people, because they have also no guide. So they also think, I will exploit this person. Oh, this person has come under my shelter, I will exploit. This is the demoniac mentality. When you do not understand the goal of life, when you do not know what is right and wrong, you will exploit. You will exploit, because you think, why not? I put so much effort, so I will exploit them. Yeah. So it is like that. I was reading a psychology book where they were talking about this child molesters. So the problem with child molesters, one of the problem is that they were young and they were molested. So they have so much resentment in their heart. So when they grow up, they're thinking, I went through this, how can these children be not going through the same thing? And so they become child molesters themselves. And then they continue, and it's a propagation. It's sad, but it happens. And until someone tells them this is not right. And so very few of them become normalized, so to speak. You really can't be normal in this world. And then we depend on the government, we depend on the society for protection. But what happens? They let us down. The government Prabhupada say all these are rascals and rakshasas. they execute heavy taxes, unnecessary taxes. Just like I was reading recently, the petrol prices are so high, right? It's skyrocketing high. Afternoon delight. It's going so high. Why? Because they play around with stock markets, which is futures trading. In the future, this is going to cost so much. And so it is the future, but they are putting the price high now. When the prices drop, they won't change so fast. So these are all rascals, rakshasas, and they don't care about the hardworking, conditioned souls. Who are very sad because it's so heavy taxes. Oh, I work so hard, and they get very discouraged and disoriented, and so they don't know what to do. Eventually, they become mad, confused. And this disease affects now not only the older generation, it's affecting even the younger generation, because they are only seeing unfortunate situations everywhere they turn, and they have no good examples. Moral situation is gone. The more you take immorality, the more your consciousness becomes degraded. Ultimately, you think everything is a waste of time, so therefore you become a nihilistic. So you want to annihilate everything. And so therefore you see all these cases, gun violence and so on. Anyway, this is the material world. Where do you want to stay now? Do you want to remain here, or do you want to get out? So that is the whole idea behind this chapter. The forest, the material forest of enjoyment. Actually, there's no enjoyment. The reality is that we try to hide ourselves, thinking it's not that bad. All right, so let's go to text 27. It's in prose, so I will chant, and then we can do the word for word and translation. No, 27. That's what Gaurahari told me. Yeah, it says it's inscribed in stone, one of the commandments. Huh? That's okay. We'll do what is there. I don't want to take any privileges. Text 27. Okay. Advani amusmin ima upasargastatha sukha dukha raga dvesha vaya vimana pramadonmada soka moha lova matsarye shyava manashud pipasadi vyadi janma jara maranadaya. Translation. Now we'll do word for word. Advani, on the path of material life. Amusmin, on that. Ime, all these. Upasargaha, eternal difficulties. Tatha, so much also. Sukha, so-called happiness. Dukha, unhappiness. Raga, attachment. Dvesha, hate. Bhaya, fear. Abhimana, false prestige. Pramada, illusion. Unmada, madness. Shoka, lamentation. Moha, bewilderment. Lobha, greed. Matsarya, envy. Irshya, enmity, avamana, insult, should, hunger, pipasha, thirst, adi, tribulations, vyadi, disease, janma, birth, jara, old age, marana, death, adaya, and so on. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, the key. Alright, we can read the translation together. In this materialistic life, there are many difficulties, as I have just mentioned, and all of these are insurmountable. In addition, there are difficulties arising from so-called happiness, distress, attachment, hate, fear, false prestige, illusion, madness, lamentation, bewilderment, greed, envy, enmity, insult, hunger, thirst, tribulation, disease, birth, old age and death. All these combine together to give the materialistic conditioned soul nothing but misery. Chai! Now you know why people say we are so pessimistic. Purport.
The conditioned soul has to accept all these conditions simply to enjoy sense gratification in this world. Although people declare themselves great scientists, economists, philosophers, politicians, and sociologists, they are actually nothing but rascals. Therefore, they have been described as Mudas and Naradamas. In Bhagavad Gita 7:15,
Namam duskritano mudha prapadyante naradamaha mayaya paritagyana asuram bhavam ashritaha.
Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Due to their foolishness, all these materialists are described in Bhagavad Gita as Naradamas. They have attained the human form in order to get released from material bondage, but instead of doing so, they become further embarrassed amid the miserable material conditions. Therefore, they are Naradamas, the lowest of men. One may ask whether scientists, philosophers, economists, and mathematicians are also Naradamas, the lowest of men. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead replies that they are because they have no actual knowledge. They are simply proud of their false prestige and position. Actually, they do not know how to get relief from the material condition and renovate their spiritual life with transcendental bliss and knowledge. Consequently, they waste time and energy in the search for so-called happiness. These are the qualifications of the demons in Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, it says that when one has all these demonic qualities, he becomes a Muda. Due to this, he envies the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, birth after birth, he is born into a demonic family, and he transmigrates from one demonic body to another. Thus, he forgets his relationship with Krishna and remains a Naradama in an abominable condition, life after life.
Om Ajnanatammirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshursanmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Mukham Garati Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamam Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madham Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sagodhido Godaya Pushvanta Chitra Sandho Tamonado. Now this the Bhagavatam is actually for devotees, practicing devotees, devotees who are really understanding that they want to make progress in their spiritual life. Therefore, when Prabhupada writes in the purport like that, it's basically to awaken the laxed attitude among devotees. You know, we do lax, but when we are out there trying to encourage people to take up the process, we cannot read from purports like that. Nor can you. If they do come across it, then we have to know how to explain to them. Obviously, we can tell them how all this scientists, economics, they're actually cheating the common people, and therefore there's nothing wrong in calling them rascals. Yeah, because they are not doing any good, or there's no justification for some of the activities they do. Naturally, many of them think they are helping mankind. They have this feeling that they. But what is the greatest thing for mankind? Huh?
Krishna consciousness.
Krishna consciousness. The goal of life should be Swatagatim hi Vishnu. One should practice so that they can go back to Godhead. But these scientists, the philosophers, economists, everyone, they don't understand spiritual life at all. It's a sad situation. Over the thousands of years of so-called civilization, revolution, all kinds of improvements, they put aside the goal of human life. And therefore, that which was part of life itself has become a fanatic kind of lifestyle. They say only fanatics are worshipping God and so on. So therefore, we can ignore these people. They don't know what they are talking. They're a bunch of sentimentalists or fanatics or whatever they call them. And so in the meantime, those who progress can only progress materially. So therefore the end of material knowledge is end in itself, that they will just simply have to croak and die. So that is reality, because there's nothing else, materially speaking. What else can you do? Oh, I can work hard and enjoy. At the end, when I die, the person with the most number of toys is the winner. So this is all they can come to. They cannot say anything else, And when they die, they are so afraid, right? If you go to the emergency ward or places where people are dying, they are not happy. They don't want to die because they don't know there is something beyond this material existence. Nobody knows, unless they come to the association of Vaishnava devotees. Yeah. And we tell them, wake up, sleeping soul. There is more to life than just working hard. In the second canto, in chapter 1, in the first few verses, excellent revelation by Sukadeva Goswami. Jai Shri Shri Radha Nilamadhava ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Giridhar Giri Govardhan ki Jai, Shri Shri Nitai Chaitanya Chandra Nitai Gaur Chandra ki Jai, Iskcon Guru Vinda ki Jai. So he says, Shrotavyadini Rajendram Nirnam Shanti Sahasrasa Apasyatam Atma Tattvam Grihesu Griham Edinam. Sukadeva Goswami tells him that persons who are materially engrossed, generally, you will find that they are blind to the knowledge of ultimate truth. Because they have no time to think about that. Therefore, they are blind to the knowledge about ultimate truth, But rather, they have so many things to talk about. Right or not? Your colleagues and so many things, but it has no meaning for life itself. Really, it doesn't help you one way or another. Maybe some people will say, no, my friend told me about this stock market share, I can now invest in that. Maybe a little bit, but you never know, You cannot trust all these things. Trust no future, materially speaking. Yeah, right? So then he continues. He tells Parikshit Maharaj the nidraya reyate naktam vyavayana cha vayaha dive chartesu haya rajan kutumba baranena va. And what is that? That these householders, these materialistic, grossly invested, they are envious of one another. The Joneses, the Smiths, the Patels, and so on and so forth, the Pillais, and so on and so on. All kinds of the browns, the reds, the whites, the blacks, the yellow, the Chinese, the Indians, everyone. They look at each other and they become envious. I hate these people. How shall we eliminate them? And these are demoniac qualities, actually. not wanting to be living together and trying to see a common ground that we can all agree upon or promote such civilizations. They don't think like that. They cannot think. Right? Like if Joe here gets married to some Indian girl and then he goes home, his parents or someone say, "Hey boy, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing that?" It's like that. People can't handle these things. So such lifetime, Sukadeva Goswami says, such lifetime, such envious householders, they cannot stand that. So in night what they do, in daytime what they do, they pass the night just and trying to enjoy their senses, having sex life. That's all they can do. Oh, this is so good. Oh, wow, ooh, wow, finish. And then what? Nothing else to do. And then find faults after that. Right? Mostly they find fault. Doesn't matter. Even if you take games, right, they'll find fault. Right? This football game, Team A versus Team B. Oh, I'm Team A, so Team B, all these buggers are useless. Team B supporters will say the same thing. So it's envious, And daytime, what they do, they go and work so hard. Working hard for the money. So hard for the honey. That is life in this material world. So devotees, as we are practicing, we have to see this reality that Srila Prabhupada highlights. Otherwise, we get trapped ourselves also, pursuing unnecessarily. Devotees pursue wealth and so on. And they are thinking in their mind, no, it's okay, I have this desire, I have to fulfill this desire. But remember, the desires propagate more desires. Right? One desire you desire a house. So then you buy a house. Then when you go into a house, then you desire furniture. You desire paint schemes. Then you desire curtains. Oh, I need these special windows. I need 84-inch LED TV. And so many things. One desire after another. Footrest, lazy boy, water bed, air bed, God knows what. Right? Huh? Yeah, just to sleep. But Prabhupada says, what's the difference between a dog sleeping in the street and a person sleeping in a luxury hotel, or a penthouse? When you're asleep, you don't know where you are. And it's a fact. I remember when I was in the early days when we were drafted in the army, in the barrack, we all, there's like 20, 40 people in a barrack, so we sleep, each. So I woke up in the middle of the night and I looked and I saw the stars, in the sky. I thought, am I dreaming? Then I got up because my barrack mates had carried my bed and put it in the middle of the field. So when I was sleeping, I didn't know where I was. So therefore, it doesn't matter what kind of bed you have, nonsense. Obviously, for people who have back problems, that's a different matter altogether, medically speaking. But otherwise, your standard of sleep is the same, right? So then, of course, I had to carry the bed and everything back into the barracks, and then I slept, and then next morning I got up like nothing happened. But that's life, And then those who are at home, they think there's no problem, family is so nice. But again, Sukadeva Goswami says, Dehapatya kalatra desa atma sanyesa asat sapi. That means they don't know about this atma, the spirit soul in this, the family members and so on. They don't care. They're like, where's my money? Where you're supposed to make me happy. That's why you're working. Bring me the money. Crack the whip. Life is like that. Tesham pramatta niddanam pashyan api na pashyati. They cannot see. It's not possible. Their vision is lost. Therefore, they are going into a self-destruction. The goal of human body is so clearly stated in the scriptures, but most people don't want to know that. Even every religious practitioners, they don't even practice properly because they don't understand why I have to go back to God or heaven. It's better here. Right? So it's like that. When Prabhupada gives an example of how there was a missionary worker who went to the coal miners. So then he was preaching to them and say, if you do not take up Christ, you'll go to hell. And they were like, hell? What is hell, man? And then he said, hell is dark, it's dirty, it's wet. And they all looked at him and said, we're already in hell. The coal miners. So he didn't know what to do. Then he said, well, in heaven there's, what did he say? There's no, in hell there's no newspaper. Then they say, okay, then we'll go to heaven. So just see, you want to just read newspapers in heaven? Yeah. So therefore, people don't understand that, and they don't know what spirituality means, and therefore, when they don't know, they don't have the idea, they cannot inquire. Therefore, this is the problem in society. As devotees, we are practicing, or rather we should be practicing properly, and so we should be very serious about what our next steps are. We should keep an idea of what I want to achieve in 6 months. Maybe I want to memorize a few verses. Maybe I want to know chapter 1 of the Bhagavad Gita thoroughly, right? And then, in 6 months, in a year, what do I want to achieve? Not that I want to be the leader of a Sankirtan team, and then I want to be the GBC, and then I want to be the Acharya for Iskcon. No, not like that, please. We want you to think about spiritually how to go back to Godhead, how you can achieve those things. Otherwise, as Krishna says, namam duskritino mudda, you end up being like them. You end up chasing your senses. Even though you know the goal of life, you have stopped endeavoring to go back to Godhead. And you endeavor to chase material stuff, and it's not welcome. And basically that's what it is. This purport is so clear that we are not in control in this material world. The material energy is so powerful, it has this ability to bewilder us in 3 different ways, either mode of ignorance, passion, or goodness. Durga Devi, she sits on the tiger. She takes the form of Kali, and then she has this lance with 3 prongs. It's called Trishula. And these 3 prongs are actually mode of passion, ignorance, and goodness. And then she stabs at this living entity on her foot. She holds him tight on the foot, and then she stabs him. Stab you, man. Yeah. And that's the material energy. She represents the material energy. And we are always been stabbed or been attacked by the material energy. And ever so often, the stabbing is not as intense, and so we think life is so good. Oh, so wonderful. Right? But in reality, it's only a brief period before either some other external forces that are going to attack you, or your own karma from previous life is going to come in a heavy fashion. So don't waste it, don't lose it. Take the opportunity, practice nicely, associate with devotees, try to figure out how you can get out in this lifetime. Don't prolong your existence. Don't use your family members, don't use other external factors as an excuse, unless you really are in a situation where you cannot do Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, don't do that, because this is sad. In that verses that I was reading, Sukadeva Goswami continues and tells Parikshit Maharaj that by listening to Bhagavatam, one will attain, one will purify one's consciousness and attain the proper goals that we want. So he says, idam bhagavatam nama. So this is very necessary. We should read the Bhagavatam as Prabhupada has written, and then we try to understand why Prabhupada says certain things, for what purposes, and why sometimes Sukadeva Goswami is saying certain things, and why Krishna is saying certain things. And what is their intent? How does it benefit me? And how I can use it to benefit others. Yeah? So if we do that, then this forest of material enjoyment will not make us want to enjoy this forest anymore. In fact, you will find that as you embrace Krishna consciousness, the desire to enjoy materially goes away. You are not interested. And if you cannot give that up, then you should understand that you have some cleansing to do, some cheto darbana to do. Otherwise the Mahadavagni will burn you away in this forest. Alright, so I'll stop here since it is extemporaneous class. I'll open the discussion. Yes, Joe.
Hare Krishna, thank you for class.
Yeah.
So on that last point, like what if you do still have like some material attraction? Like how do you do that cleansing? Like just more chanting or?
Well,
like
depends. It all depends on that. Yeah, chanting, of course. You continue chanting. The activities that you say, that material attachment, what is it? Is it sense enjoyment, or is it that they are all sense enjoyment in many ways? But depends. Is it something like, for example, some people like to earn a lot of money. Yeah, even though they have money, it's not enough. They have to earn. So for them, how to purify? Give some to Krishna. Yeah, like that. So if it's a sense enjoyment, then enjoy. For example, if you want to eat nonsense, then you eat prasadam. Yeah, that way you purify that tongue wanting to taste so many things. If you want to enjoy women or something, then marry Krishna conscious marriage, and then live a Krishna conscious life. Get some guidance, grihastas to guide and counsel, and so that way your mind is steady and undisturbed like that. And yeah, read Prabhupada's books, yeah. And whenever you have free time, go out with the boys for books or Harinam. Those are purifying. They will release you from this entrapment. This is an entrapment. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. Partha. Oh, go ahead, Sudevi. Sudevi Shaki.
In the beginning, you were just explaining all those examples, like somebody's going on a cliff to get an orchid.
Yeah.
It reminded me so much of this video Shamasundar Prabhu sent me. Maybe he sent it to you. It's just like a couple-minute video of this man. He's alone in an office at night, and he discovers this piece of paper with a black circle on it. And then he realizes, somehow he discovers that it's actually like you can put your hand through the hole.
Interdimensional.
And it's like a bottomless pit that you can just take whatever you want from it. So he's experimenting with it, and he puts it on like a pop machine, and he gets like a chocolate bar, one of these like vending machines. So then he's just thinking like, well, what else can I get? And so he's going and going, and then he goes into this like safe, with money. And he puts his hand through, and he takes out a wad of money. He's like, wow. And
what?
Then so money, like a
money.
big stack of bills.
Okay.
So then he's like doing it again, and then he's thinking, well, why don't I just go in there? And so he goes in himself, and he's in this like lockbox, and then the piece of paper just falls. And so it just like locks him in there, and you realize like that's just how it is. It's about greed.
That is how material life is.
And it's just like the eternally bound.
Yes.
You just can't get away.
Nice. Thank you for that. Yes.
Thank you for class.
Hare
Very
Krishna.
nice. How do we know if we are like artificially rejecting something, or just feeling like we might not need this?
Okay, that's good. For beginning devotees, we don't know what is right and wrong. Even though we may read, the actually practicing it's a challenge, because we take shelter of our mind, and our mind is the guru, mana guru. So it leads you what you want actually. The mind wants to enjoy the senses. So therefore, for you to make good choices, you cannot make choices on your own. You need someone who you have faith in, who is your well-wisher, and then you tell them, this is my choices and decision, what do you think? You are my well-wisher and I will do. Whatever you say, I will do. That must be the other point. When you ask someone for opinions or help, which you trust in them, then when they tell you this is right or wrong, then you behave accordingly. That way you will always be successful, and Krishna will ensure that you always be successful. Okay? Anything else? Yes, Prabhuji.
We were on book distribution yesterday, and I was having this realization that it's like I have no ability to actually like give these people books and get them to take them and give donations and be inspired for this, because I was just perceiving that people were so like stuck in their own, like they're enslaved basically. They're just pulled by sense gratification, and me coming to stop them and talk to them, it's like the message doesn't really break through that pull to just where they were wanting to go immediately. And it's like Krishna, I really just need your help, because I can't actually get across to these people. There's nothing, and I can't figure out what to say that's gonna like be the right thing.
Yeah, well, that's the mood the Sankirtan devotee has to go out in. Yeah, we are not the doers. Krishna guides them as a super soul. He guides them to us, and then we have to present it in a favorable manner. Yeah. Then if they see you're a nice person, they may. Then the choice is theirs, to take or not to take. That's the question. Yeah. But the super soul has already made them understand that, oh, this person is something I need to understand. Yeah. We are not in control. You're absolutely right. Yeah. I've experienced a lot, many times that. Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah.
What is the verse number from second canto?
Second canto, chapter 1, verses 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Yes. Kapaturu, Houston Desiree.
Thank you. No, I was just thinking that when you said that how people in general always are envious of each other, and I was thinking also the policies of the workplace, companies, government policies also encourages that attitude. Actually, my daughter works for a company. She came home yesterday and she was saying that her company closed finance and IT department here, like 300-400 people got laid off, and they gave that outsourced to India, call center, no?
Yeah. Jai Shri Shri Radha Nilamada ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Giri Govardhan ki Jai, Shri Shri Dajantai Gaur Chandra ki Jai.
So she was saying how people at work here, that they are resenting that so many of their friends are gone for no reason. So she was saying like they give work to call center in India, and then the other day she said somebody from human resources called her that, oh Gauri, you should have, how you didn't give enough information to these IT call center people. They are like robots. They don't have any brain. You have to spoon feed them. You have to tell them everything. So, they, even though she said those workers are very good, they are very fast. They do need more instructions, but everybody is like resenting them and saying
that's how it is. Yeah. You're right. They
companies want to save money.
Encourage enviousness. Yeah. All right. So thank you very much. Is there anything else you want to say? Yeah, go ahead. Give him the.
I just appreciated you said that not to make excuses for like some material thing, some situation that we're in that isn't allowing us to practice very seriously or sincerely. And I ran into a guy yesterday who that was the situation, that he was a black-bodied person, and he was saying that the whole black-bodied community, they can't fully take up spiritual practice because they have a whole material situation in America that isn't being taken care of, that everybody should address that before they can. I was saying, actually, you just need to take shelter of God. And he's like, that's what spiritualists all say, but that's not the solution. I'm like, but it is the solution.
It's like when Prabhupada approached Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and said, we have to support, India has to be liberated. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati told him, no, this is the most important. And then he realized it. Well, it takes time, Some people can understand immediately, some may take some time. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for your contribution. Thank you, everyone. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanandi.